Hi there, welcome. In this video, I have 10 algebra questions, and I want you to pause the video for each question and try them yourself. I will move the slides every 10 seconds, but you will have your video paused until you are done with the problem, and then you will run the video for the next question. When you're done with all of the 10 questions, I will show you the solutions. Now take a moment and get a calculator, pencil, and some paper. So let's get started. Problems one at a time. So the question is, in the formula t is equal to 2 pi square root of L over g, pi and g are constants. What's given? Squaring everything gives you t squared is equal to 2 squared, which is 4, pi squared, and you get L over g. Solving for L, you multiply both sides by g, dividing both sides by 4 pi squared, and the final answer is E. Cube root of 2x plus 4 is equal to negative 0.375. You cube both sides to get rid of the cube root, and you have 2x plus 4, negative 0.375 cubed. Solving for x, you minus 4, divide by 2, plug the whole thing in your calculator, and you get negative 2.03, and the answer is A. If the reciprocal of y minus 1 is y plus 1, y is equal to what? Well, the reciprocal of y minus 1 is 1 over y minus 1, and that's equal to y plus 1. So multiplying both sides by y minus 1, expanding this, you get 1 is equal to y squared minus 1. Bring the 1 on the other side, you have y squared is equal to 2, and y is equal to plus or minus root 2, and that's not in any of the choices given, so the answer is E. The equation 4y squared minus 3y plus c has real roots, which means b squared minus 4ac has to be greater than or equal to 0 for it to have real roots. You can't have any negative number here. And b is 3, and a is 4. So 3 squared is 9 minus 4 times a, c, must be greater than or equal to 0. Simplifying this, you get 9 minus 16c is greater than or equal to 0. Solving for c, which is less than or equal to 9/16. You have to remember the product of the roots is c over a, and sum of the roots is negative b over a. This is a very important rule that you must remember. But the question is, for the value of c, which product of the roots is the maximum? So the product of the roots, which is maximum, will have the c value of 9/16. So they're not asking for the product of the roots, so we don't have to figure that out, but they just want to know the value of c, which will give the maximum value. So any one of these values could have been c, but the largest value is 9/16. The sum of all even numbers between 1 and 51. So the formula for sum of all the numbers for the arithmetic series is number of terms divided by 2 multiplied by the first term plus the last term. So even numbers between 1 to 51 would start at 2, end at 50. There are altogether 25 numbers because it's every other. The first term would be 2 and the last term would be 50. Plugging it into your formula, you have 25 divided by 2 times 2 plus 50, and you can use your calculator to figure this out, and it's 650. The final answer is B. Select the correct order for defining the following terms: natural number, imaginary number, rational number, and integer. So let's go ahead and review the real number system. You have the imaginary number, the rational number, which can be broken down into integers and fractions. The integers can be broken down into positive and negative integers. The positive integers are broken down into whole number and natural number. So first you want to define the natural number. Then the second one would be the integer. And then you want to decide whether it's a rational number. And then the imaginary number. So the order would be A, natural, integer, rational, imaginary. If A over B is equal to C over D, which of the following is not always true? So if you cross multiply this, you have AD is equal to CB. Now let's go ahead and test each of these choices. So A over C, if you cross multiply this, you get AD BC. So that works. And the second one is BC and AD, and that works. That matches the top one here. C, if you cross multiply this, you have D distributed over A plus B and B distributed over C plus D. Simplifying it, you get AD is equal to BC, which is basically the same thing here. So C works. Now let's try D. That's AC and BD. That's not the same as that. So D does not work. Let's check E anyway. So if you cross multiply this, you have A distributed over B plus D and B distributed over A plus C. You have AB plus AD is equal to AB plus BC, and the AB cancels out and you have AD and BC, which is what you have here. So E works as well, and the final answer is D. So first you want to do f of 3/5. F of 3/5 would be 3/5 plus 1 over 3/5 minus 1. And it turns out that you have negative 4. Then you do the second one, f of negative 4. Turns out that you get 3/5. Minus 4 plus 1 divided by minus 4 minus 1 would be negative 3 over negative 5, which is 3/5. And f of 3/5 gives you negative 4, just like this one here. F of negative 4 gives you 3/5. And the final answer is C. Turning this, using your calculator, turning this into decimal gives you 0.6, which is what the answer is. For what approximate value of c is the parabola y equals 2.8x squared minus root 5x plus c tangent to the x-axis? You can see it's facing up, and for it to be tangent to the x-axis, the discriminant will have to be equal to 0. So plugging all the numbers that you do know, root 5 squared minus 4ac, set that equal to 0 and solve for c, the answer is 0.4464, and that's exactly what they're asking for. They wanted the value of c here. And the answer would be B. F of x is equal to x minus 1 over x. Then f of 1 over x is equal to what? So f of 1 over x is equal to 1 over x minus 1 over 1 over x. That simplifies to 1 over x minus x over 1. And simplifying that gives me 1 minus x squared divided by x. So save this. And we're going to check each one of these choices here and see which one matches our original. So let's test for this one, which is simply f of x. And f of x, as it's written, if you simplified it, lowest common denominator is x, numerator is x squared minus 1, and that is not the same as that. This is positive x squared, and here you have negative x squared. So 1 does not work. F of negative x, well, wherever you see x, you make it a minus x, so this becomes negative x. This is a negative, so it turns into positive x. Lowest common multiple is x, and you get negative x squared plus 1, and that is negative x squared plus 1 over x, negative x squared plus 1 over x, so the second choice works. How about the third choice? Negative f of x, negative, and f of x is x squared minus 1 over x, and distributing the negative, you get negative x squared plus 1 over x, which is identical to the first one here, f of 1 over x. So the third one works as well. Let's test the fourth one. 1 over f of x is equal to 1 over x minus 1 over x, and simplifying that gives us 1 minus x squared over x. This x can, simplifying that further, will give us x over negative x squared plus 1, and that is not the same as that, so we reject choice 4. So only 2 and 3 are equal to f of 1 over x. So the correct answer is B. All right, thank you very much for taking this little test. I'll see you again. Goodbye.